Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a seriously fascinating source text that unpacks how historical teachings, specifically those of Jesus, offer a rock-solid, six-secret blueprint for building lasting resilience in our daily lives. Whether you're currently facing a massive life hurdle or honestly just dealing with the everyday grind, the ancient blueprints we're analyzing today lay out incredibly practical, actionable habits to build true, enduring strength. Let's get right into it. So this text completely reframes our modern understanding of resilience. Usually we think of it as just gritting your teeth, right? Just white-knuckling your way through a storm and relying purely on your own willpower. But these historical teachings, they define it entirely differently. They suggest that true resilience is actually about relying on a higher power and intentionally letting go of control. It's really about adopting daily habits that fundamentally shift your focus, anchor your peace, and help you find enduring emotional and spiritual strength. Okay, here's our agenda for today. 1. The true source of resilience. 2. Connect, which is trusting and praying daily. 3. Act, meaning serve and have faith. 4. Release, forgiving and accepting fully. And 5. Your daily resilience habits. Section 1. The true source of resilience. When faced with a crisis, our natural human instinct is, to panic. We instantly try to fix everything using our own limited strength and wisdom. But Proverbs chapter 3 completely flips this script. It argues that true strength actually lies in placing absolute trust in a higher power to guide our paths, rather than just leaning on our own understanding. We see this brilliantly illustrated in the classic story of David and Goliath. Look, David didn't win because of his own physical strength or advanced weapons. No way. He won because his trust was firmly grounded in something far bigger than himself. Section 2. Connect, trust, and pray daily. We see the foundation of trust anchored right here in the story of Jesus in the wilderness. Picture this. After fasting for 40 days, facing intense vulnerability and literal human hunger, he was tempted to use his own power to turn stones into bread. Instead, he chose to rely entirely on God, declaring that man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. This illustrates a really profound habit. In our moments of greatest fragility, when a solution is completely beyond our visible control, leaning into trust is exactly what builds the most resilience. Now, to really understand continuous prayer, we look at the Garden of Gethsemane, which is arguably one of the most intense moments of anguish in this entire narrative. Here, prayer isn't presented as some stiff, formal religious ritual. Not at all. Instead, it's a continuous, desperate lifeline. Jesus prayed multiple times, actively surrendering his own will to a higher plan. Maintaining this constant dialogue, even when you are completely overwhelmed with sorrow, is what ultimately renews your strength to face the inevitable.
So, how do we actually make this a daily habit? It looks a bit like this. Step 1, when you feel overwhelmed, force yourself to hit pause. Seriously, just stop. Step 2, voice your struggle in a continuous dialogue to actively surrender control. And step 3, wait patiently. I know, trusting often means waiting, which is tough, but it's in that active waiting that your emotional and spiritual strength is actually renewed.
Section 3. Act, serve, and have faith. This concept radically challenges our conventional ideas of power. It really highlights that incredible moment Jesus washed his disciples' feet. Now, in that culture, this was a shocking, menial task reserved strictly for the lowest servants. But by doing this, he demonstrated that true greatness and inner fortitude don't come from being served or seeking status, but from serving others. Stepping into a position of empathy and compassion actually builds our own spiritual strength. Why? Because it shifts our focus completely away from our own anxieties and vulnerabilities. And the source text pairs this outward service with unwavering faith. Just picture this scene. Jesus is sleeping peacefully in a boat during a literal life-threatening storm on the Sea of Galilee. While the disciples are completely panicking, convinced they're going to drown, he remained perfectly calm. When he woke up, he didn't just calm the storm, he questioned their fear. He was illustrating that their panic was a direct result of forgetting exactly who was in the boat with them. So this story radically redefines faith. It isn't just some abstract feeling you have when life is easy. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. It's an active, grounding trust in a higher power's goodness. It acts as an anchor, allowing you to rest and step forward with courage, completely regardless of how absolutely chaotic your external circumstances might be.
If you want to build that kind of resilience today, try these practical daily habits. Step 1. Notice someone else's need. Step 2. Serve them humbly without expecting any recognition or applause in return. By doing this, you successfully execute Step 3, which is shifting the focus away from your own internal storm. Ironically, helping someone else weather their storm gives you the exact endurance you need to weather your own.
Section 4. Release, forgive, and accept fully.
Here, forgiveness is anchored in Jesus' ultimate act on the cross. Even in the midst of extreme physical pain and absolute injustice, he actively chose to forgive. This demonstrates a totally vital lesson for lasting resilience. Forgiving isn't a sign of weakness, and it definitely doesn't mean minimizing the offense. Rather, it is a powerful, active choice that frees you from the exhausting, corrosive chains of bitterness.
And this represents a massive, massive paradigm shift. Instead of our usual human instinct to hold on to resentment and limit our grace, the biblical command is to forgive 77 times. Basically, forgiveness has to be a continuous, limitless habit. We see this play out in the story of Joseph. The guy was sold into slavery by his own brothers, but he chose to forgive them anyway. That proves that releasing resentment can transform a deeply painful situation into something incredibly purposeful. The final secret to resilience we're looking at is full acceptance. True resilience is cemented when we simply stop fighting circumstances we cannot control. Think about figures like Job, who lost literally everything but still found a way to praise, or Abraham, who trusted a deeply confusing command. Both of them accepted that there is a larger, wiser plan at work. They released their own meticulously crafted human plans and embraced a higher purpose, even when it was incredibly painful.
Building your daily habits here in the release phase requires some profound intentionality. Step 1. Actively relinquish your right to retaliate or hold grudges today. Step 2. Release the constant need to micromanage and control life's unpredictable outcomes. We all do it, but we have to let it go. And Step 3. Trust the bigger picture. When your plans get completely derailed, try to accept it as a pivot toward a purpose you might not yet see. Section 5. Your daily resilience habits.
All right, let's bring the whole shebang together. Here is your actionable daily resilience checklist derived straight from these ancient teachings. To build lasting strength, you really want to make these your daily habits. First, yield control early and often rather than panicking. Second, keep a continuous prayer dialogue going, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed. Third, do one completely selfless act daily to shift your focus outward. Fourth, practice active trust when things get chaotic. Fifth, choose to forgive instantly to free yourself from the weight of resentment. And finally, accept what you simply cannot change.
As we wrap up this explainer, Matthew chapter 17, verse 20 leaves us with a pretty famous claim, that faith as small as a tiny mustard seed can literally move mountains. Looking at the habits we just outlined, trusting, serving, praying, forgiving, which of these are you going to apply right now? What mountain in your life will your mustard seed of faith move today? Thanks so much for exploring this fascinating text with me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.